Hey, Shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful elect. Those in the gospel abroad, lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is a lesson through the Spirit. Says J.P. Morgan, CEO, warns U.S. is headed towards something worse than a recession. As they've been saying that R word, they've been throwing that R word around there very loosely. Talking about a recession, but we're more like in a depression, to be technically honest, because look up the word recession and you get this definition here. It says business cycle contraction, technically. See what it says here. And Salakia, man, my live stream, Esau was messing with it, so I went ahead and ended it because he cut like 3-4 minutes of the live stream. I'm assuming down here must don't have any good signal, but even on the road it was kind of buffering. So yeah, Esau is really messing with the feeds, man. A multi-billion-dollar platform like YouTube, you mean to tell me that you can't afford good service? Like, nah, that's an attack on us to frustrate the purpose. But you're not gonna frustrate the words of the Heavenly Father, right? Cool, Chris here. In economics, a recession is a business cycle contraction where the general decline in economic activity, meaning the loss of jobs, like they're talking about, unemployment is at an all-time low. Unemployment is currently at, I think, 4 or 5% allegedly, but that's a damn lie, okay? Because unemployment is probably more like 30-40%. Because look at the people that's homeless, that don't work. Look at all the people that's staying at home, all right, when they decided not to go back to work after this whole pandemic thing, you know. So this is not the time and people that the world, or this is not the lowest of unemployment that's been. No, because everywhere you go they have a hiring signs, man. Okay, they have for hiring. Okay, like I just came from a particular interview and I really wanted the job, but you know, the schedule wouldn't work out. It was going to interfere with the whole camp. And honestly speaking, I'm at the point now that, you know, I'm going to dictate what I want to do. I'm not working on nobody else's time, for real. You know, decent job and stuff like that, but you know, you take away the weekends, nah, that's Esau demanding too much out of you, okay? Especially when he's not willing to do it himself. So it's not gonna work. Especially when you're taking a $2 pay cut. Why would I take a $2 pay cut to work a so-called better job, or a better job, which it would have been? But even then, you know, I gotta work all hours. I gotta work over, you know, second shift and working weekends and all that stuff. I'll pass on that, man. You know, maybe next time, but not today. But it says recessions generally occur when there's a widespread drop in spending and adverse demand shock, and there's pretty much a downfall in it because people ain't spending money because they don't have the money to spend. Okay, people can't go out and shop and do things they normally would do when you have rent that went up fucking 10-12%. Okay, like they talking about by this winter, there's gonna be millions of people that's gonna be evicted, and people are walking away from their jobs. They're losing jobs, you know, they're getting furloughed. And I believe furlough, depending on the company, they can only pay you up to a certain amount of time. You know, some companies maybe 12 weeks or more, 16 weeks, some companies 8 weeks. But after that money runs out, what you gonna do? Okay? And people, they're not really playing the games with it no more. People don't really want to work, okay? Because they feel like, what's the point of it? People can do their own business. They can dictate their own schedules. That's the way to go, okay? But it says, this may be triggered by various events such as a financial crisis, which we're in, which that Lou fellow or fellowist Nikki, or what's her name, Cardi B, was going into. I told people that there was going to be an economic financial crisis after the pandemic, but yet you was telling people to vote for Sleepy Beezy, man, Sleepy Joe. Hell out of here, man. You ain't hurt for no money because you sold out being on your knees in that industry. So you could just shut that shit up, man. But anyway, it says this may be triggered by various events such as financial crisis, an external trade shock, and an adverse supply shock, and the bursting of an economic bubble, or a large-scale anthropogenic or natural disaster. It says a recession is less severe than a prolonged depression, and believe it or not, America is in a depression. Okay, this has been the most job loss in the time of the Great Depression. Okay, and they comparing this time to the Great Depression. But see, what they do through their media is they play on the emotions of the people, making it seem like there's hope when there's no hope. Okay, there's no hope for this place, man. Okay, because honestly speaking, it's done. You know, so stick a fork in her, she's done. All right. Fine here. JP Morgan, here we go. So it says here, JP Morgan CEO warns U.S. is headed towards something worse. And they would know because these are the devils that controls this thing. Okay, they start the economic trends. They causes the stock market to fluctuate, rebound, okay, inbound, whatever you want to call it. They do it. But it says, for months now, economic experts have been sounding warnings about upcoming recession. It says the Federal Reserve has been quite aggressive with interest rate hikes this year in an effort to slow the pace of inflation. It says the Fed's goal is to make borrowing expensive enough. It says the Fed's goal is to make borrowing expensive enough that consumer spending starts to decline, thereby helping to close the gap between supply and demand that caused the cost of goods to soar, right? And they blame everything on this Ukrainian thing, but the Ukraine thing was the whole thing that sparked off this whole inflation thing, because in the back of their mind, it was already a duping dollar, and that's what the whole C-19 was all about. Okay, and the whole Ukrainian conflict, that was to disguise something that was already happening. Because remember, back in 2016, 2017, we was doing all those shows on the retail apocalypse, when you had thousands of businesses that was shutting down from the years of 2017 up into this current day. So we've been in a depression. Okay, the Ukrainian shit ain't started. This it's been happening, but they're using that to blame the other nations, when in fact it's Esau, man. It says here, but the Fed is taking a risk. If it raises interest rates too drastically, it can lead to a major pullback on consumer spending, which we're the consumer. It says, and that could be turned into a recession, something many people may fear. But it says, now the silver lining and all of thus far have been a solid labor market. That's a damn lie. It says, in fact, many financial experts have conceded that while they think a recession may be imminent, it won't necessarily be drastic or lengthy. Okay, but see, that's you devils, man. Okay, this is the worst time in human history, and this is the worst it has been since the 2008 collapse. And they were talking about this is going to top that by quadruple, you know. So it says here, but recently, JP Morgan CEO Jamie Dimon had some scary things to say about the economy, and is a warning worth noting. But it says, although Dimon acknowledges that the U.S. economy is strong right now, which that's a damn lie, he's still convinced conditions are apt to deteriorate. He also said that 20 to 30% chance in facing something worse than a recession is near term. But now in economic terms, when we think about what's worse than a recession, we tend to imagine a full-blown depression, which we're technically in, a really prolonged period of economic decline. But to be clear, Demon isn't saying he's convinced we're heading into that direction, but rather he thinks it's a possibility people should gear up for. Okay, so you basically saying we getting ready to hit that. You know, we're getting ready to hit the depression stage, man. But this is a way of them trying to keep hope in Babylon and keep feeding you people nonsense and folly. Okay? But this is the book of Ezekiel 7. And I was meditating on this earlier. This is the book of Ezekiel 7 and 3, because you people are going to be affected by this the most. Starting with you Negro, Latino, and Native American, which are the biblical Israelites. Okay? This is going to hit you the most. And I say you because, hey, the men of the Lord, we're going to be taken care of, man. And the Lord is showing various signs of that already. You know, just by the way things are going in our lives, you can kind of see why the Lord stated that my servants will eat. And I'll leave it at that. But it says, now the end has come upon thee, and I will send my anger upon thee. Because remember, this is all the will of the Lord. It says, and will judge thee according to thy ways, and will recompense upon thee all thy abominations. It's what's some of your abominations, man? Worshiping other gods, okay? Bowing down to your women, okay? Engaging in all types of folly, all into the Momo agenda. Okay, you Jakes have totally lost the ball here, man. And you're not considering the fact that the Lord have raised up prophets in this time to tell you, look, all hell was breaking loose, to get your minds right. Okay, and it reads here, and it says, and my eyes shall not spare thee, neither will I have pity, but will recompense thy ways upon thee, and all thy abominations should be in the midst of thee, and ye should know that I am the Lord. Okay, because, hey, once this judgment starts, the Most High is not going to turn his way back. Okay, he's going to let this place currently descend, continually to descend into chaos and plummet into chaos until there's no Babylon the Great, which that's going to end by the nuclear missiles. It says, thus says the Lord Yahweh, and evil and only evil, behold, is come. It says, an end is come, and the end is come. It watcheth for thee, behold, it is come. So he's repeated that, the end, watcheth for thee, behold, it is come. Okay, so hey, when you look at the end, it means the end of a specified event, the end of an empire, the end of a particular way of life. And this is the end of an age, the end of Esau's rulership. which I believe the age goes into the Greek word eon, or can mean he goes into the whole known world. Cosmos goes into a particular order. And it reads here, it says, the morning is coming to thee, O thou that dwellest in the land, and the time is come, and the day of trouble is near, and not the sounding again of the mountains, okay? Because your mountains is your governments, okay? But it says here, the day of trouble is near, which is Jacob's trouble, which is when all hell breaks loose, when rioting, killing, the purge, okay? The FEMA camps are going to be activated. You're going to have martial law troops, police in your neighborhoods, okay? People are going to be looting and looking for food, deterioration, people dying for starvation, zombie apocalypse, okay? The city's being casted down, you know, not being able to go into one city to the next. These things are coming upon Babylon the Great any day now, all right? Like we went into the lesson earlier about the new bill they passed in Chicago, which they basically say a purge law, you know. But it says here, now would I surely pour upon my fury and accomplish my anger upon thee, and I would judge thee according to thy ways, and would recompense thee for all thy abominations, right? And this is going into you Israelites, because, hey, you haven't understood the way of not being wicked, okay? We've laid before you the foundations of life. We've broken down the commandments. We've told you the name of the Heavenly Father, and you still refuse to hearken. So when this hell comes, you're going to be looking for the servants of the Lord out there. You're going to be going up to the corners where we used to preach. You're going to be typing in on the YouTube, the algorithms of the pages, and you ain't going to be able to find us, man, unless the Lord wants you to find us. And count yourself merciful if that happens. Because when shit hit the fan, we're not going to be on the streets teaching. Okay, the Lord's going to put us up. And it says here, it says violence. No. I think I read it already. It says, and my eyes shall not spare, neither would I have pity, and I will recompense thee according to thy ways and thy abominations that are in the midst of thee, and ye shall know that I am the Lord that smiteth. But behold the day, behold it is come, the morning is gone forth, the rod have blossomed, pride have bought it, because pride is at an all-time high, man. Okay? All-time high. Like, I just came from this place, and it was this Keisha, okay? And wasn't really bad looking at all, but, you know, she was basically fucking me with her eyes, man, and found out she had a ring on her finger. You know, and what was so ironic about it, when I went to the receptionist desk where she was at, she had them damn cum lashes on. And then she stood up, and she came from around the desk, show you that it was a demon. And then she had like these little comfortable sandals on, man. And you know, Jake, they gonna look you up and down. You know, that's just what men do. They, you know, men have checked it out type shit. And it's just a reaction. It wasn't that, you know, Jake was checking her out, but it was a reaction. But the fact she got up and she walked all the way around the desk just so I can check her out. But I'm like, bitch, you got a fucking ring on your finger, man. But then again, you know, these women, they don't care about that. A lot of times I'm married to myself, man, whatever. But see, that's the type of pride we dealing with. Like the scriptures say, wanton eyes. She had very wanton eyes. And that's the epitome of the Israelite woman, man. Okay? And it says here, violence is risen upon the rod of the wickedness, and none of them shall remain, nor their multitude, nor any of theirs, neither shall there be dwelling for them, right? Because when the Lord finally puts you asunder and casts you down, ain't nobody gonna be crying for you, man. Okay? We're not gonna be crying for the 2/3, man. Like this guy, PNB Rock. We ain't crying for that guy, you know? King, all these you degenerates out there, man, you Kia boys, we ain't crying for you when you smack a Kia going 80 miles an hour into a concrete barrier and the Most High eject your ass through the roof of the car. We ain't crying for you niggas, man. That's good for you because, hey, it says here, violence is risen up into a rod of wickedness. None of them shall remain, nor of their multitude, nor any of theirs, neither shall there be dwelling for them. But the time is come, the day draweth near. Let not the buyer rejoice. Okay, because, hey, this is a highly consumable society. Okay, 80 to 95% of the people in America are consumers, man, outside of the business moguls, you know, the 1%. But majority of us are consumers because what? America, they don't produce anything. You know, they import goods from different countries, have business ethics with different countries. And we're the ones that buy these things up. Like when you go to the grocery store, you go to the mall, you're consuming because you're spending money, putting it into the economy. You know, like when you buy your shoes, your kicks, or your PlayStations, or your cars, you are consuming. Okay? And it says here, the time has come that they, matter of fact, let's start here. It says, for the seller should not return to that which is sold. Okay? Now it says, let not the buyer rejoice, nor the seller mourn, for the wrath is upon all the multitude. So you business owners out there, you getting ready to hit a crash, man. It says, for the seller should not return to that which is sold. Why? Because you sell your real estate or your homes or whatever business you got, it's going to be like you never had it. It says, although they were yet alive, for the vision is touching a whole multitude, which should not return, neither shall any strengthen himself in the iniquity of his life. Right? Because the bullshit folly that you guys are engaging in, you're not going to be able to depend on that to get you out of the gym. You know, like a lot of guys are heavily into this gym culture, but yet these guys got chin made of teddy bear cotton, man. You know, and they pride themselves in knowing MMA. Like, I used to train at this school with a bunch of simps, man. And this is the reason why I hate training in schools with people, because they have that simp nature. Their whole thing there is to protect the woman, okay? Which is nothing wrong with protecting your woman. But when you give the woman a pass and you just gonna fight for it, even no matter what types of evil she's committed, that's some bullshit. But yet these guys, they had this tough demeanor, but that ain't gonna get them through Jacob's trouble, man. Okay? Because that crane kick or that thrust kick that you threw, hey, the Most High is gonna recompense that upon you, man. That's why it says any should himself strengthen himself in the iniquity of his life. You drug dealers, you gangbangers, okay, your keys you slinging and your niggas you're robbing, that ain't gonna get you through this time. And it says, and they have blown the trumpet, even to make all ready, but none go to the battle. Right? Because you Jakes ain't ready, man. You're ignoring the trumpet. We're clearly on a watchtower blowing the trumpet, and yeah, you niggas are like, man, you've been saying that for days. Ain't nothing gonna happen. You know, like every time I talk to my mother about it, but ain't that for a lot of time? Like, how much time do you need? Like, what do you mean a lot of time? We in a lot of times now. You same niggas was saying this shit 2,000 years ago, 100 years ago, 50 years ago. It always got to be pushed off so you could finish living your wicked ass life. But no, okay? And it says here, for my wrath is upon all the multitude thereof. The sword is without, and the pestilence and the famine within. And he that is in the field should die with the sword, and he that is in the city, famine and pestilence should devour him. And this is the reason why they're going to shut down these cities. Okay, this is the reason why when they start to ration off these goods, when they shut down these businesses, you ain't going to have no food coming into these cities, man, unless you got that MOTB. So if you in a city, you definitely going to die of famine because they're going to cut the cities off. Okay, so it says here how to prepare for a recession. It says the reality that even seasoned economists can't necessarily predict with certainty whether a recession or something worse will hit, when it will hit, and how bad it will be. It says sometimes these situations just need to play out and run their course, but it's never a bad idea to prepare for a recession, especially in the light of all warnings we've been hearing. But how the hell can people prepare for something where they don't have no money? Okay, people literally living paycheck to paycheck, and this little increase they've given on a job is not enough. Okay, when you have inflation that's at 9-10% and you give somebody a 2 to 3% increase on a job, you still have 6 to 7%, 8% that you have to make up for that you ain't getting. So how the fuck is somebody gonna prepare for something they ain't got the funds to do it? Okay, and this is why people are talking about going off the grid. But it says one of the best ways to gear up for a recession is to boost your emergency fund. But in the wake of the pandemic, many experts are advising people to save more than previously recommended 3 to 6 months of living costs. Sure, some like Sue Orman thinks 8 to 12 months worth of bills is a more appropriate sum of money to have in a savings account. But see, you people are still worried about bills when you ain't gonna have the money to pay them. Okay, because when shit hits the fan, you're still gonna be getting billed, but nobody's gonna pay it. You know, like they talking about rolling blackouts from LA all the way to London. Why? Because these particular energy providers, they don't have so-called efficient amount of energy to fuel the grid, so to speak. Because the grid is overloaded anyway, because why are we living off a grid? You know, that's just to bring in control, you know. But anyway, it says at that same time, it pays to do what you can to whittle down costly debt. But with more interest rate hikes on the horizon, you don't want to be carrying a credit card balance because it could end up costing you more later this year or early next year. But it says, but if economic conditions worsen, you definitely don't want large monthly payments hanging over your head. But that's the reality of it. Rent, shit, insurance. If you a Jake and you got insurance on a Hellcat, that's an extra house note. You know, insurance, doctor bills, unfortunate things happen. You know, all types of things. Insurance itself is high. But it says finally to do your best to boost your job skills. It says that won't guarantee you won't be laid off if your company is forced to downsize, but it may lower your chances. And if it would improve your ability to land a new job if you don't get laid off. But all told, this isn't even the first time this year Demon has given dire warning about the economy, and it probably won't be the last. So it says the best thing to do is stay calm and make sure you're ready for things to potentially get worse. And this is really a spit in you people's face. Okay? This is really a spit in your face because they know goddamn well that you people don't have what it takes, man. Okay? Because look at this. It says account holders, U.S. banking changing account terms can limit withdrawals. That's another thing when you put limit withdrawals on people's money. Okay? It says account holders at Yorkshire Bank, for instance, have received notification that the bank changed account terms to say we have the right to restrict transactions where we reasonably believe our financial stability may be at risk, such as actual or potential abnormal levels of withdrawals. All right. So basically what happens and what they're telling you is the fact that we got a right to your money. Okay. Because when you put money in a bank, it goes into like a digital asset. It's not necessarily there. They loan the shit out. So if you put $10,000 cash in a bank, it's not going to be there. Though it's going to say it's in your account, it's not going to be there because they immediately loan it out. Like with your paychecks, man. You don't get paid for every 2 weeks because that money is not there. They don't have the money to pay you day by day because they're too busy funding the war and Ponzi schemes, you know. But it says, put simply, if a whole slew of depositors start losing faith in the bank and start taking their money out, then the bank gives itself the right to prevent you from taking out your money. And this is why people were robbing banks to get their money out. Okay, but hey, the Lord said it, man. We're reading it. It says here, the sword is without, and the pestilence and the famine within. And he that is in the field should die with the sword, and he that is in the city, famine and pestilence should devour him. Right? Because famine and pestilence, man, sickness, diseases, plagues. Okay, but it says, but they that escape of them should escape, and should be on the mountains like doves of the valley, all of them mourning everyone for his iniquity. Right? Because hey, when you get caught up in the wilderness, you ain't gonna be able to go to the cities. Okay, a lot of you gonna starve to death. A lot of you gonna be casted out. A lot of you gonna turn on each other. Basically like reservoir dogs. You know, and all hands should be feeble, and all knees should be weak as water. And they also should gird themselves with sackcloth, and horror should cover them. Why? Because the horrors that's coming to America, the death, okay, the demons, okay, the mass judgment, okay, the storms, the tsunamis, the fucking the earthquakes, man. Okay, the people turning into zombies out here. People losing their mind all on drugs, man. Okay, going after the government officials. That's why it says, and horror should cover them, and shame should be upon all faces, and baldness upon their heads, man. So look up the word horror and see what it means. All right, it means shuddering or trembling. Okay, so you people are going to be afraid. All the pride is going to be broken down. All the pride of you women, you 2/3 Jakes, you Edomites, you're getting ready to face that, man. You're getting ready to eat that. But it says here, and they should cast their silver in the streets, and their gold should be removed, and their silver and their gold should not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of the Lord. And they should not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is a stumbling block of their iniquity, man. Okay, so hey, Yahweh Shemi Hawashai is getting ready to do mass judgment out here, man. Okay, and we can't stress that enough. All right, so this is my last precept, 2 Ezra 16, and I'm gonna start at verses 41. It says, he that selleth, let him be it that fleeth away, and he that buyeth it as one that will lose, and he that occupieth merchandise as he that will not profit by it, and he that buildeth as he that should not dwell therein, and he that soweth as if he should not reap. So also he that planteth the vineyard as he that should not gather the grapes, and they that marry as they that should not get no children, and they that marry not as the widowers, and therefore they that labor in vain. Okay, and that's the point. All this shit is vanity, man, because you're throwing your life away working a 9-to-5 job, and then all is going to come to naught anyway. Okay, it's all going to end anyway. And it says here, for strangers should reap their fruits and spoil their goods and overthrow their houses and take their children captives. For in captivity and famine they should get children, man. And they that occupy merchandise with robbery, the more they deck their cities, their houses, their possessions, and their own persons, the more would I be angry with them for their sins, says the Lord, man. Okay, so hey, brothers, all hell is getting ready to break loose, and I'm gonna end it there. All praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh, Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. And with that, shalom and above, shalom.